They call them killer whales, apex predators of the ocean, crafted by evolution to dominate the seas. Sleek, powerful, intelligent beyond human understanding, orcas have fascinated us for generations. We filmed them leaping from the waves, performing tricks in theme parks, starring in glossy documentaries that paint them as the playful giants of the deep. But behind the polished images lies a far older, far darker truth. Orcas are not trained performers. They are hunters, calculating, strategic, and fiercely territorial. And when you forget that, the ocean reminds you. That's exactly what happened on a remote expedition off the wild Pacific coast. What began as an ordinary sightseeing trip, a chance to admire these magnificent predators up close, turned into a nightmare no one on board will ever forget. Because when humans cross the invisible line between curiosity and intrusion, the sea strikes back. Before we dive in, do you believe orcas are misunderstood? Or do you think they're far more dangerous than we admit? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if this story changes the way you see the ocean, hit like and subscribe, because this one might haunt you.
The sea stretched endlessly into the horizon, a sheet of silver and blue shimmering under the morning sun. The small expedition vessel, Ocean Seeker, cut through the gentle waves, its white hull gliding across the vast Pacific waters. For most of the passengers on board, it was a dream come true, an opportunity to witness the ocean's apex predator in its natural habitat, the killer whale, the orca. Lucas Hayes stood at the bow, sunglasses shielding his eyes, scanning the horizon with practiced ease. At 38, Lucas had spent over a decade guiding tours like this along the rugged coastline of British Columbia. His confidence was quiet, built on years of navigating the unpredictable moods of the ocean. He knew the waters, he knew the wildlife, and above all, he believed he understood orcas. They're incredible creatures, Lucas explained to the group, his voice carrying over the hum of the engine. Fast, intelligent, coordinated. Out here, they're the kings and queens of the sea. But don't worry, they've never attacked humans in the wild. Laughter and excitement rippled among the passengers. Cameras clicked. Phones were raised. Among them, Erin Blake adjusted the lens on her DSLR, eager to capture the perfect shot. A wildlife photographer from California, Erin had spent years traveling the world, but seeing orcas in the wild was a first. She had grown up watching documentaries portraying these majestic animals as gentle giants, the playful performers of the ocean. The captain's voice crackled through the intercom. "We've got movement port side. Pod of orcas approaching." The mood shifted instantly. Passengers leaned over the rails, their eyes scanning the waves. Moments later, sleek black dorsal fins sliced through the water like blades, followed by the telltale burst of mist from their blowholes. "They're beautiful," Erin whispered, raising her camera. Lucas nodded, but kept his expression measured. He'd seen orcas countless times, but his respect for them ran deeper than admiration. These were not circus animals. They were apex predators, evolved over millions of years to dominate their world. Still, as a guide, his job was to keep the tourists calm and the narrative controlled. The orcas approached gracefully, their bodies cutting through the surf with effortless power. A calf surfaced beside its mother, earning soft gasps of delight from the group. The scene felt perfect. The ocean calm, the creatures playful, the atmosphere relaxed. Yet beneath the surface, something stirred. Lucas couldn't shake a faint unease creeping along the edges of his mind. The largest male orca lagged behind the pod, circling wide, its towering dorsal fin slicing the waves in a slow, deliberate pattern. Its dark eye briefly broke the surface. Cold, calculating, unreadable. Lucas brushed the feeling aside. It was probably nothing. Just another day on the water. Just another encounter with nature's most intelligent predator. But the ocean, like the creatures beneath it, hides its true nature well. And soon, the illusion of safety would shatter. The ocean seeker drifted quietly now, engines idling as the pod of orcas moved around the vessel. The sea had settled into an unnatural calm, the surface glassy and undisturbed, except for the graceful arcs of black dorsal fins slicing through the water. The passengers were mesmerized. Cameras clicked in rapid succession, voices hushed with awe. Erin adjusted her zoom lens, capturing every movement, the slick curve of an orca's back, the misty spray of its breath, the flash of white patches beneath the surface. For a moment, it felt surreal, being so close to one of nature's most intelligent hunters, yet wrapped in the illusion of safety. Lucas stood near the stern, watching not the tourists, but the whales. His eyes followed the largest male, easily distinguishable by his towering dorsal fin, jagged at the edges from old scars. The orca was circling wider now, breaking away from the pod's relaxed, coordinated movement. It wasn't normal. "Stay back from the edge, folks," Lucas called out, his voice steady but firm. Some listened. Others, swept up in the thrill, leaned further over the rails, desperate for the perfect photograph or video. Among them, Erin remained focused, her eyes locked on the massive male, cutting through the waves alone. She zoomed in, noticing details others missed. The scars along its flank, the tension in its movements, the way its head tilted ever so slightly in the direction of the boat. It wasn't playfulness. It was something else entirely. "Lucas," Erin said quietly, lowering her camera. "That big one. He's watching us." Lucas didn't respond immediately. His gaze was fixed on the water. He recognized the behavior, the calculated approach, the slow circles, the way the pod maintained distance while the dominant male tested boundaries. The sea, once shimmering with light, now felt heavy, a vast, indifferent expanse hiding ancient instincts beneath its surface. Suddenly, the water near the hull rippled. A sleek black shape glided underneath, faster than expected. The boat rocked gently. A few passengers stumbled, laughing nervously. "Probably just curious," one of them muttered. But Lucas knew better. Orcas were never just curious. They observed, they calculated, they strategized. And when they moved like this, they weren't here to entertain tourists. "Everyone, step back from the rails," Lucas repeated, sharper this time. His tone carried weight, pulling attention. The largest orca surfaced again, closer now. Its dark eye lingered above the waterline, unblinking, unreadable. For a fleeting second, Erin's lens captured the predator's gaze. Not friendly, not curious. Pure instinct. Lucas's pulse quickened. Something wasn't right. The boat, the pod, the behavior, it didn't align with every textbook description he'd rehearsed for tourists. The ocean, vast and silent, felt different today. Less like a playground, more like a territory they should never have entered. And beneath the waves, the true predator waited. The hum of the boat's engines faded as the ocean seeker drifted deeper into unfamiliar waters. Above, the sky remained clear, but beneath the waves, the mood had shifted entirely. The playful energy from earlier was gone, replaced by an eerie tension that even the most distracted passenger could sense. Lucas stood near the navigation console, eyes fixed on the depth monitor. Readings flickered across the screen. They had ventured further offshore than planned. He cursed under his breath. The captain, too eager to impress the group, had pushed beyond the designated observation zone. "Turn us around," Lucas ordered, voice sharp. But before the captain could respond, a loud thud reverberated through the hull. The boat rocked violently, sending tourists gripping the rails for balance. Gasps and startled cries erupted as ripples spread across the surface. "What was that?" Erin's voice cut through the confusion, her camera forgotten at her side. Lucas didn't answer. His eyes were locked on the water, scanning, searching. He knew exactly what that sound was. Not curiosity, not play. It was a warning. The large male orca surfaced again, closer than before. His massive dorsal fin towered above the water like a dark blade, scars gleaming in the sunlight. His movements were slow, controlled, but brimming with raw power. "This is his hunting ground," Lucas muttered, more to himself than to anyone else. The realization settled in like a weight on his chest. Orcas were apex predators, strategic, intelligent, territorial. The ocean seeker had drifted straight into their domain, disrupting the invisible boundaries that nature had carved long before humans arrived with cameras and false confidence. The group remained unaware of the danger, still clinging to the illusion of safety. Tourists leaned over the rails, whispering in excitement, believing they were witnessing harmless marine life. But Lucas could see the shift, the pod's formation tightening, their surfacing more erratic. Suddenly, another impact, stronger this time. The boat lurched sideways, water splashing over the deck. Chaos erupted. Passengers stumbled, some falling, others screaming. Erin clutched the railing, eyes wide. "They're not playing, are they?" "No," Lucas replied coldly, his voice low but steady. "This isn't play. This is territory." He moved quickly, instructing the captain to restart the engines, but hesitation cost them precious seconds. The orcas weren't waiting. Another shadow darted beneath the boat, followed by another jarring hit. Metal groaned under the force. Above the chaos, one truth became impossible to ignore. The orcas weren't here for entertainment. They weren't the friendly creatures plastered across brochures or featured in amusement parks. They were hunters, and the humans on board had made the fatal mistake of trespassing where they didn't belong. Beneath the deceptively calm waves, the predators prepared for their next move. The real encounter was only just beginning. The sea, moments ago deceptively calm, erupted in chaos. A massive impact slammed into the side of the ocean seeker, the force rattling the metal frame like a toy tossed by an unseen hand. Passengers screamed as the deck tilted sharply, belongings sliding across the floor, cameras crashing onto wet wood. Lucas grabbed the railing, heart pounding in his chest. His worst fear had materialized. "They're ramming us!" he shouted to the captain. "Full power! Get us out of here!" The engines roared to life, but the boat barely moved before another violent strike rocked the stern. The water churned with white foam, dorsal fins cutting the surface like black knives. The largest male orca emerged beside them, his towering fin slicing through the waves. His eyes surfaced, dark, unwavering, void of fear or hesitation. It wasn't curiosity. It was calculation. A predator's stare, locked onto prey. Erin clung to the rail, her knuckles white, eyes wide with horror. This wasn't the majestic wildlife encounter from the documentaries. This was raw, unfiltered nature. Brutal, precise, merciless. Without warning, another orca darted beneath the hull, its sleek body vanishing into the depths before slamming into the undercarriage. Metal groaned, bolts strained, the entire vessel quivered. Passengers fell to the deck, cries of terror filling the salty air. Some tried to retreat inside the cabin, but panic rendered them slow and disoriented. "Stay low! Hold on to something!" Lucas commanded, but his voice was nearly drowned by the sound of splintering fiberglass. In the distance, more orcas circled. The entire pod had joined the assault, their movements coordinated like a well-rehearsed hunt. This wasn't random aggression. It was a tactic perfected through generations of survival. Isolate, disorient, overpower. The ocean seeker rocked again, water spilling onto the deck. Erin lost her grip. In an instant, her body lurched over the slick railing, her scream swallowed by the roar of the ocean. "Erin!" Lucas lunged forward, but it was too late. She hit the water, vanishing beneath the rippling surface. For a moment, there was only silence. Then, the dark silhouette of an orca surfaced near where she fell. Its powerful body glided forward with terrifying grace, disappearing beneath the waves. Lucas's stomach dropped. He had guided dozens of tours, taught people about the ocean's wonders, comforted them with false promises of safety. But now, stripped of illusions, he saw the truth. These were not gentle giants. They were apex hunters, relentless, calculating, bound by instincts older than humanity itself. The pod closed in, and beneath the shimmering waves, the ocean prepared to remind them all who truly ruled these waters. The world above the waves had dissolved into chaos. But beneath the surface, everything was terrifyingly silent. Lucas's eyes scanned the rolling sea, desperate for a glimpse of Erin. But there was nothing. No splash, no cry, no struggle. Only the endless, glassy water and the cold, merciless shapes moving beneath it. "Erin!" he shouted, his voice cracking against the roaring wind. A heavy silence hung in the air. Then, a dark figure surfaced. Not Erin, but the massive male orca. His dorsal fin sliced through the water, leaving a crimson stain trailing behind him. Lucas's stomach clenched. The sickening realization hit harder than the waves. Blood. It spread quickly, blooming in the water like ink spilled across a blue canvas. The tourists on deck froze, faces pale, mouths open, but no sound escaping. The illusion had shattered completely. This was no longer a wildlife show or a photo opportunity. It was survival, and they were losing. The pod tightened formation, circling the boat like wolves herding helpless prey. Another orca rammed the hull, followed by a second strike, relentless and methodical. The vessel groaned, the deck tilting dangerously. "Get below deck," Lucas ordered. But panic had already rooted itself deep in everyone's minds. Some passengers collapsed in shock. Others scrambled to the cabin, slipping on the slick, blood-smeared floor. The captain's hands trembled as he fought with the controls. The boat sputtered forward, engines straining, but their speed was pitiful against the calculated assault of creatures designed for the ocean's extremes. Lucas clutched the rail, his knuckles white. His heart raced, but his mind was sharp. He knew exactly what this was. Not random violence, not a misunderstanding. This was dominance. The orcas were asserting their rule, enforcing the boundaries humans foolishly ignored. No brochures, no documentaries, no polished aquarium glass could hide the truth. These animals weren't symbols of harmony. They were lethal, brilliant, and utterly untamed. A final impact rocked the vessel. The sound of splitting fiberglass echoed across the water as part of the hull cracked open, seawater pouring onto the lower deck. In the distance, the male orca surfaced once more, his black eye lingering on the floundering humans. There was no emotion there, no cruelty, just nature. Pure, unapologetic, and ancient. The ocean wasn't angry. It simply reminded them this was its territory, and the price for forgetting was written in blood. As the ocean seeker limped toward the horizon, battered and broken, Erin was gone, swallowed by the depths, claimed by the sea. Another name in the long-forgotten list of those who underestimated the true predator of the deep. Before we end, what do you think? Are orcas misunderstood gentle giants? Or have we forgotten they are apex predators? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if this story made you question humanity's place in the wild, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more. The ocean never forgets its rules. Long after the headlines fade and the tour brochures are rewritten, the truth remains buried beneath the waves, raw, relentless, impossible to tame. Erin's disappearance was not an accident. It was a brutal reminder that in the wild, ignorance comes with consequences. We romanticize nature, frame predators as entertainment, but the sea has no patience for human mistakes. The orcas proved that. In their world, they are not performers. They are hunters, and we are trespassers.